Barack Obama ordered the CDC to resource guns, and I have the statistics I'll show you after this, how they take it. I'm not saying right now good or bad, I'm just saying both sides don't want to look at the statistics. I think that's another reason that people don't want to come to the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I've just heard, I'm aware that the CDC is banned from using government money to research gun violence.
That's an old.
So on top of that, this year they actually put it into the funding for 2018 that the CDC can research gun violence this year.
Okay.
Though I would think that Centers of Disease Control, I don't know why that particular department would be researching gun violence to begin with.
That has to do with
I think there's other federal agencies that do that, and they should. FBI does a very good job at doing that as well.
Common ground we're getting here now.
Like, they research that because they want to know what's the most common way to die. So if that's a common way to die, they would want that statistic on there.
Yeah, and that's, I think it's a good point. But again, there's other government agencies that already research it that they could borrow that information from. I would think.
Like the FBI.
So I think it's a combination of what Javier was saying about defensiveness, and because that seems to me to relate to emotion, and it is an emotional thing when you think about the prospect of injuring someone else or killing someone else, and that has a lot to do with what guns were invented for. It's by no means the only legit purpose for guns, but the idea of inflicting harm or injury or death on someone else is an emotional thing, and that goes all of a sudden when someone mentions guns, among a few other issues, that's can really quickly cause the dialogue to break down.
I don't think it's a gun issue. I think it's a moral issue. It's not brought up in the families anymore. No one's taught respect. Everybody's given appreciation or participation awards for showing up. There's no challenges.
No consequences.
Definitely no consequences. That is the cause of this. Guns don't kill people any more than cars do, or forks make people fat, or pencils no spell words.
And the idea in that interview among that Navy veteran, when he made a mention of something along the lines of holding a machine that's designed to kill people responsible for deaths. Well, you can't hold a machine responsible for anything.
It's
You
an
cannot hold
inanimate
an
object.
inanimate object. There's 1,000 inanimate objects in this room right now that could be used easily to take a life. And so whether to put the blame on something outside of a person implementing the harm, that's the easy trap to fall into. I don't know if anybody else, most of us I think glossed over that concept, but you can't hold a machine responsible for anything.
So that being said, and I agree, I am a gun owner, how can we focus on being more effective at who is getting these guns, these machines? I think a lot of what I've heard from people who are, like you mentioned, common sense gun control, how can we be more effective in funneling out people who would use these machines in a violent and devastating way? How can we be more proactive about that?
I think a good approach would be starting off young. Like when I was a kid, I went through a hunter safety course, and that taught me responsibility about how to handle a firearm. And I think that's a really important key to start off early, to show that these are dangerous objects. And I think it all comes down to responsibility.
I think there's already lots of systems in place funded by the government that are not being used to the full capacity. I know that there's plenty of times where somebody who should have had their guns taken away, they were not, because the government was not efficient in doing their job.
I think, I don't think that it's particularly caused by participation trophies, but I do think that there is a kind of new behavior going out in blaze of glory. That we're not really going to seek help if we have an issue. The kind of philosophy is that you let it fester, you make a plan, and then you slight everybody who has wronged you, and then you just go out that way so that you can actually make your point. And in the way that we don't catch it earlier, in that philosophy, you don't catch it earlier. You don't seek help earlier, you don't have an issue and actually bring it up to anybody. You just wait until that chance to go out in that blaze of glory. And I think that that kind of philosophy really needs to be touched upon and changed and altered in some way.
It's been sensationalized, death by cop, death by gun. It's becoming a popular way to go.
You're mentioning that I just lost it now. What was it that you had said this moment?
How can we better funnel and be more proactive about who?
Okay, so, yeah, so we're focused on who gets guns, but at the same time that, yes, I agree, certain people may not need to be accessed to guns and weapons, but at the same time, it seems more like by our discussions or what's being said in the media and stuff, it's not so much, let's get the guns out of the hands of these people. It's just, let's get the guns out of the hands of everybody. So even though that's not what they're saying, it feels more like, well, if you have a gun, you must be bad.
So I think it's important to separate things that we can immediately change and things that we can't. So like it'd be great to have the culture of respect towards guns, but it's hard to do that as a culture, especially in an amount of time that we want to see progress made. So if we are focused on actually using the system that we already have in place or changing it, but make sure that it's efficient and cost effective and productive as a whole. So like I would love to have the culture of like respect towards guns, but at the same time, that's not an overnight change or even like a year change that we could make. So I think that would be really important to focus on the systems that we have in place and make sure that they're using to their full capacity.
As a gun owner, I'm concerned because with the controversy of guns going on, there's initiative petitions being passed around. One's going to come to the ballot in Oregon that has restrictions on gun ownership. It scares me for 2 points. First of all, and this is measure petition 43, which is going to the ballot. You can go around and get signatures and get people upset, and you get anything on the ballot you want. The definition of fire of automatic weapons, assault weapons, takes away my hunting rifle when you read the fine print on it. And the wait for a percent. Looking at percentage of common sense, and they also have a provision for assault weapons. You have to turn them in or give them to the government. Take away guns that are already legally owned. That's the worst thing. If somebody wants new effective gun legislation and common sense, the second that you say, going to take away some guns, you've totally lost your audience. You've polarized it, nobody's going to pay attention to you. So for Pete's sake, if we want common sense gun legislation, we can't do any takeaway at all. It just feeds the hysteria on the other side. And that's an Oregon law that's going to come on the ballot as a result of...
It hasn't got enough signatures yet. It needs 83,000.
I heard it's been given a number for the ballot, and they have enough.
Yeah, it's up to the AG now to get on the ballot to get a title. They got the full 1,000.
The terminology that the Attorney General gives it to makes a big difference. That's all I'm going to say. We got to watch out and be protective of the pendulum swinging so far to the left that it does more harm than good. Thank you.
Well, I think with talking about common sense gun regulation, we've got enough laws on the books right now. We just need enforcement of those current laws. And all states follow the federal minimums. and then they have their own individual laws. Missouri, for example, you have to get a license before you can purchase a handgun. But it's the only state in the union that has that law on the books.
Is that good or bad?
Depends on how you look at it.
Yes, yes.
It proves that somebody's responsible enough to go through the steps to get that license.
As a hunter and a gun person myself, I'm all for it. I'm not gonna do something bad with my guns. I'm not worried about the government knowing I have guns. I don't foresee any possibility of bringing troops home from Iran, Iraq, or parts of the world to come and try to take away my guns. And most of the people I talk to say anybody shows up to take away my guns, they won't make it past my driveway. I've got 10 of them. I mean, the concept of somebody's gonna take away your guns, it's just common sense, like you were saying. Maybe we should have a uniform law, you know, a handgun. You can buy a handgun in Oregon and never fire a gun in your life. You can buy it and get a concealed carry permit and never have fired a weapon. That's dangerous, dangerous. And so we need new laws that are conformed state to state and consistent. And for the most part, yes, it's gonna mean some guns being registered if they're, you know, assault weapons, but nobody's gonna come and take them away.
All that's true, that somebody can buy a gun and never fire a gun and get a concealed permit and never fire a gun. What's the percentage of people doing that? I mean, if somebody's gonna buy a gun, they're buying a gun because they want to use it for some reason. I mean, yes, you can state that this is gonna happen, or it could happen.
Anybody
But
here
the possibility of it actually happening, I don't think that's.
It'd be nice to research the figures. How many people here have a concealed carry permit?
I took the class, but I never
How many people here just have the Oregon permit?
Just happened?
Yeah, the Oregon. Oh, no, I have the Utah permit and the Oregon permit. Utah permit takes basically another day of firing weapons and learning about them and self-defense and when to use them. We should have a uniform, at least to the Utah standards, before you can get a concealed weapon permit. Just people, not my daughter, but people in my family I know who have purchased them and they've never fired them, and it's scary. That's scary, scary. Go ahead.
So going off the concealed carry permits, there's the statistic that people with concealed carry permits are 6 times less likely to commit a crime than even police.
Because they've been vetted and checked out. It's a wonderful thing, because you can't get one without being...
Well, it may not only be that, but
Well, it's not
maybe
that.
the
You sneeze or you
personality
lose
of the person. You know, the person that's going to go get a concealed permit is getting it for a reason.
I had a lady, must have been at least 75 years old, while we were tabling last week. We had a common sense gun thing there. She came over and said, "What kind of gun do you think I should purchase, handgun?" And I'm there, oh, Lord. No, you should not have a handgun unless you have specific training, a week's worth of training with it. And I can't imagine somebody's gonna get away from you and shoot you. She said, maybe mace, and I said, yeah, mace is right, good. Honest, true story.
Well, Bert, I really appreciate what you did there, asking who, has a concealed carry permit here in this room. I'd like to pose a question for both gun owners and non-gun owners. As a gun owner, for those of you that are here, how do you view people who are non-gun owners and have a certain stance? And non-gun owners, how do you view gun owners?
When myself and my better half got together, she was a non-gun owner and quite honestly violently opposed to firearms in the home. I've got a fair collection myself, hunting, recreational shooting, whatnot. And after taking her out shooting a couple of times, showing her and educating her on proper gun safety and our daughter on proper gun safety and handling and storage of the weapons, now she herself is a proud firearm owner and wants to get more.
Can I go ahead? So, as a gun owner, that's your right to not own a gun. That's your right to think whatever it is because we have the Constitution. But at the same time, we have that Constitution because we have the right of the Second Amendment. So there's all your right to think you shouldn't have guns, It's your right to not own a gun, but it is my right to own a gun by the Constitution.
Do you think,
Well, hold on.
Oh, wait a minute, yeah.
He raised his hand over here.
Oh, well, basically, I view non-gun owners as people that don't need a firearm. They don't have a need for it. They don't want it, so good for them. I view gun owners as people that actually have a need for it. Like, for example, my unnamed friend that has 3 kids and has an ex-husband that's threatening to kill her. I took her down to the gun store and I bought her a gun. I should be able to do that immediately to protect her life, because law enforcement isn't going to be perfect. I can't expect them to be there immediately when he's busting down the door. I need instantaneous protection.
that's just the fear of what's gonna happen if somebody's untrained on it, doesn't have a trigger lock, and 3 kids at home. I
It can
think
be
that's-
locked up. It's
That
locked
wasn't
up.
in the discussion.
No, she locks her gun up. I
Good,
gave
I
her
mean,
one.
that's,
The guy was saying like, "Hey, I was threatening to kill her. What am I supposed to wait 7 days for a gun to come in? Like, what am I gonna do in the meantime?" It's like, well, you could have this pepper spray and you could defend yourself with that, and hopefully he doesn't come busting down your door with
that may be a
ARs.
gift for the few people who may die because the ex-husband gets to them before they can get out and get a handgun.
And 3 kids too.
And 3 kids too. But if there's a rule, you can just go out and grab guns when you're upset or worried or fearful. I think in the long run, more people are gonna be.
I don't think it can prove that. As far as
Paul.
the difference the difference
Well, it's not about town
between.
from this.
Yeah,
Uh,
hold on, Ed, Paul was right. He's
Oh,
been sitting
okay,
there.
Paul. Who's Paul?
As a gun owner, outside of being a veteran who swore to uphold the Constitution and defend innocent life, as a gun owner and as a concealed weapons permit carrier, I think the state could do a better job of making sure we know our responsibilities regarding defending innocent life. And as a gun owner who packs a gun everywhere but here at campus.
Illegal, once you know.
And by the way, a couple of follow-up questions a couple of you guys had should have also asked the next question regarding how many in this room have permits. How many in this room are packing heat right now?
If we say so, we're in trouble.
I wouldn't doubt, no, you're not.
It's legal to carry on
You're not.
campus in
You
Oregon.
may not know this, but students and the general public walking through campus that have a permit can carry a concealed weapon. Employees cannot. So I would put $50 right now that there's at least 1, maybe even 5 handguns right here in this room right now. And I'm not worried about it. But-
Pretty safe.
Yeah. Anyway, as a person who walks around their daily life, except on campus, I'm responsible to defend innocent life. And I would like to ask a non-gun owner, especially people who want to impose restrictions on my rights, et cetera, et cetera. I'm willing to defend any life in this room. I have defended innocent life with a gun in the past, too. I would defend any life in this room. Would every life in this room defend mine? I'd like to ask that.
Yeah.
I would.
Okay, Jeff and Javier.
Sure. So to just kind of go backwards and then forward a little bit, I was on the delegation for the state platform for the DPO. We brought up bringing in guns and, taking away. That was immediately struck down. It was the lowest thing on the ballot. So I know a lot of people here are kind of getting the overview for the state. And as far as the state's concerned, from like the left, we're not interested in that. And we're aware of the implications it has. For gun owners, as seeing non-gun owners on that question, I'm a gun owner, but I'm not, a concealed carry gun owner. I think that the biggest thing that impacts how I see other gun owners, because for other non-gun owners, I just kind of see most people who don't want a gun. But for other gun owners, it kind of depends on what their intention is with getting a gun, and what type of gun they get. You can kind of tell if someone's getting, a 60-round hollow point drum clip, that it's not really something that I can see as a calm situation. But as far as like, if they're doing it for defense and if they store it properly, I'm much more comfortable about that person. I'm much more comfortable about their intentions with the gun.